So, this module is a continuation of our previous module. So, therefore, in this module we are going to discuss about the family buying decisions, and I, Dr. Shravanti Mukherjee from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, will be discussing this module to you. Before, the main learning objective of this module is the family buying decision model by Professor Jagdish Sheth. And before actually going through the module or going through this particular model, I would like to tell you one short story. A family of 4 members went to a tourism company, okay, and there they are asking that please suggest us a good holiday package. The tour manager, before he opened the booklet and talked about different options which the family could afford and also can enjoy. So, before that, the father of the family, which means the head of the family, he said that see, I am a student of history. So, I am more interested to go to the places which is attached to history. So, you may arrange a Rajasthan tour for me, or likewise where I will get good touch of history. So, the mother seemed to be more skewed towards natural beauty, and she said that either I want to go to the forest, or I want to go to the sea beach, or some place where I will enjoy the scenic beauty more. Now, the children, since this family is an upper income family, now there are 2 other children. These children, they started saying, no, we want to go for a foreign trip. Please, our decision is we want to go to Bangkok. See, in the same, almost in the same money, we can actually go for a good Palace on Wheel trip in Rajasthan. We can also go for some good forest safari, and we can also go for a Bangkok trip. So, if that is there, then why not to go for a foreign trip? Why should we go for a national trip? Because that will give us we can tell to our friends that we have gone for a foreign trip, and that will actually enhance our image amidst our friends. So, clearly you can see here there are the 3 different groups which you can see. 2 children, mother and the father, 3 of them had different likings, and that is why their choice of destination were 3. Now, what should the tour manager do? Because see, the tour, there is only a 10-15 day slot which they want to go for, and there is a fixed amount of money also they are talking about. So, the tour manager cannot suggest them 3 tours, but he should understand the pulse, like who is the influencer in this decision, and he should notice very carefully how finally this entire family converts to a single decision, because they do not want to go alone, they all want to go together. Interesting part is this, they all want to go together, but they have different motives and different needs as such. So, now the marketer has to decide, marketer has to note that how the family is converging to a single decision. It may be by bargaining amongst themselves, it might be by emotionally motivating the other members. How and who is the most dominant member in this case, who is most influencing the decision? Here lies the case of family decision making, because so far we were talking about individual decision making, where there was only one individual, say myself, and I am taking a decision. Maybe there are several influencers, but the final decider is myself. But in this case, since all of us has to go together and enjoy the vacation, so therefore, and this family is also bonded by emotional tie. So, now what decision the family will take, because here in the previous session I have told you the family should be considered in this case as one single unit. So, now we see how the families converge to a decision, because that will help the tour manager to plan his promotional messages, to the way he will motivate the family towards a particular tour package, so on and so forth. So, let us see how that is a reason why we actually study the family decision making model. So, family decision making with its unique approach is standalone amongst the emerging research areas in social sciences. No doubts, here we have facets of sociology, as I said, then social anthropology, psychology, economics, and of course, marketing have contributed to the development of the theory of family decision making by the acclaimed marketing guru Jagdish Shet. Now, this is the structure of the family decision making model. If you clearly notice this structure, it is there are some parts of this structure. The first part, we need to decide here that who is consuming. Is the any individual member of the family, and entire family is taking the decision? It may be the children, the child's school, which school the child will get admitted. So, that decision both the father and the mother can jointly take, but the consumer here is the child who will actually go to the school and get the education. So, therefore, who is the consumer, who is consuming, who is deciding, that we need to know. So, in that case family was deciding, but the member child was consuming. Sometimes in the vacation case, which right now I have said, is the entire family would be consuming. And what kind of household unit we are talking about? A single person household, or larger household, a joint family, a nuclear family, what kind of family we are talking about. Then we see here, that is the second part of this process. One is the autonomous decision versus the joint decision. So, whether the decision is an autonomous decision or whether the decision is the joint decision, whether the father only decides about the financial things and mother decides about the household things. So, these are then it becomes autonomous decision, but if this is a purchase of house and both father and mother have equal say, then it becomes joint decision. So, this is one part. Then whether the decision would be autonomous or joint, that again depends on these things also, like the life cycle, perceived risk, importance of purchase and time pressure. Now, we move to the other side. Other side is here, the family decision could be made by the father or the mother, other members, or all of them. So, all of them have some predisposition in their mind, which will actually end up in attitude formation of the family as a whole. So, here I will go in details in the session. The first part you can see here is the information search and sensitivity towards the information, which forms their perceptual bias and their buying motives, their evaluative beliefs. And that in turn results in the predisposition of each of this member, and each member, as this particular case of tourism I said that all of them have different motives. So, father has a motive of moving to the historical location. So, his evaluative belief would be towards the historical places that would score better in his mind, and mother more of scenic beauty. So, that those kind of places will score more in her mind, those kind of packages. And for the child, we are talking about the foreign packages maybe. Now, all of them have their own sources of getting information, and they have their own level of sensitivity of information, which together in a process develops their predisposition. I will go in details. So, our first decision, as I said, was who is the consuming unit. The total consumption of a family may be grouped in three types, as it is mentioned here. I already mentioned family as a whole, individual and household unit. For example, cigarette may be exclusively consumed by father, lipstick by mother, toys by child. On the other hand, vegetables and curry powder may be transformed into curry by mother and consumed by the entire family. Products like home theatre, car, music system, air conditioners are also consumed by the entire family as a part of shared consumption item, the family consumption behavior may often be considered to be the offshoot of the family buying decision. So, consequently, the consumption cropping up from gifts, rentals, possession by means other than buying is not overtly taken in this consideration. So, in this consideration here, we are only taking the buying decisions, not gifting or any other part. So, this is the first part of the model, which I briefly told you right away, but now I told you elaboratively. Now, we see the second part, autonomous and joint. So, family buying decisions according to Jagdish Sheth are considered to be of two types, autonomous, husband or wife dominant, or the joint. Now, the task of the specific members of the family that has been described in the previous module has a definite impact of the overall buying behavior. When a person stays in the family life cycle, I have explained it actually, when a person stays alone, he buys for himself. So, his motives are dominated by his own needs. Situation become complex when the person gets married. So, there they have to take a lot of joint decisions for selection of house, selection of furniture, and when the child comes, then of course, the child both the parents have the stake to take decision about the child's education and other things. So, there the situation becomes more complex and more joint. Nonetheless, finally, the decision have to be based on the needs and requirement of the entire family. So, they have to arrive at a consensus. Okay. So, there would be a lot of influencing factor. The child may have their vested power, the mother may have her emotional power. So, all these things would be there, but finally, the decision has to converge. Family as a unit has to take a decision. Okay. So, there are many factors which acts as a determinants of joint versus autonomous decision making. I told you here these are these factors: life cycle, perceived risk, importance of purchase and time pressure. So, apart from that, there are some cognitive aspect of the individual members, where you can see here also. So, we move ahead. What are the cognitive aspects of individual member? So, each member of the family has his or her own positive or negative predisposition regarding some product and particularly brands or service. These predispositions are assumed to be diverse in many cases due to the existence of disparity in motives. I told about the tour, deciding the tour pack. Father wants to go to Rajasthan, mother wants to go to Gujarat and or South India, and the child wants to go to Bangkok. So, the motive is very different. So, there could be diverse motives, that is not only one motive. So, there is another example I have cited here, that the husband may like to buy a house of 2000 square feet close to his office, where the wife prefer a high price small apartment in her matrilocal area to stay closer to her aged parents. So, each of these cases, the members will they know the perceived advantages and disadvantages of their choice. So, that is how their own predisposition is. That these are the advantages and disadvantages they know, and accordingly they will evaluate each of the apartments maybe. And in this case, the buying motives is very clear. For the husband, it was near to office; for wife, it was close to her parents' residence. Therefore, the member's predisposition is a function, as I said, is a buying motive and is evaluative criteria. And most of the buying motives are generated from the learned predisposition carved out of their past experience or maybe acculturation during their cultural mix with the other members whom they are talking or the society in which they belong. One of the determining factor of a family member's formation or predisposition is his or her own evaluative belief about a particular brand. Now, say the person wants to choose historical packages, tour packages, okay, the man and the father of the family, but there are Rajasthan, there is Gujarat, there are other historical places in the country as well. But which one will score more in his mind? Okay. Delhi, if he is inclined towards the Mughal history, maybe Delhi he is interested in, Delhi Agra. If he is interested in Rajputana, that he likes more than of course, the other thing. So, this is how the some he may be interested in the freedom struggle, then Andaman may be the place where which he is liking. Okay. So, this will be different evaluative motives would be there. And now, we talk about the determinants which I was saying here. These are the determinants of predisposition. So, the determinants, as we see, the first factor is derived from the chain of exogenous constructs shown at the top. I told you this is the top, gender wise, confidence level wise, personality wise, reference group wise, social class, lifestyle and role orientation in the family. So, that is how they differ, and the second factor contributing to the cognitive facets of individual members is the exposure of the relevant information from the array of sources from where they collect the information. And nonetheless, the members are likely to be at variance in terms of their ease of access of the sources, extent of overt search for information, etc. So, now for example, the husband may collect information from his colleagues. So, he is more sensitive towards the information collected from the peers. The wife may be more interested from the information she is exposed to in the television ads. The child may be more sensitive again towards the television ads or whatever it finds as the window displays in the shops. So, therefore, the sensitivity of information will also be very much varied, and their extent of search will also be varied. And now, I told you right now that the determinants, there are some determinants of autonomous versus joint decision making also. If you look at here, this is lifestyle, the perceived risk, importance of purchase and time pressure. So, we move ahead. So, this is what are the things, like if the perceived risk is more, the decision is more likely to be joint. If the importance to the purchase of family is more like its child's school, if the time pressure is very high, then for example, if the importance is very high, it would be more joint decision, but if time pressure is high, probably any one person can take a decision. Role orientation, sometimes the by the social structure, the husband takes certain decisions like financial decisions. By certain structure, the wife takes certain household decisions. So, it may be there is a role orientation also, and life cycle also. When you are alone, then you take of course many single decisions. When it is again in the emptiness, you take single decisions. And of course, the social class also varies here, because in the more of upper tiers where it is double income sections, there most of the decisions are joint, whereas in the male dominated single earning household, you can see particularly the financial decision would be more dominated by the husband. Now, we see what is the process of joint decision making. So, in the process of joint decision making, so who is the initiator? That is the first thing we need to know. Who wants to first decide about that they want to go for a travel to during the vacation? So, that is the first point to understand. Second is, who is the information provider related to the joint decision? Okay. Is it the father's colleagues who are influencing him to take a decision, and that is why father is providing more information, bringing more information in the family, or the mother is bringing more information in the family? So, that kind of thing. There are some other examples I have cited. Now, secondly, who is the buyer or the shopper? Who is actually going to the for the final purchase, and who is paying for it? And then we have to see what are the issues of conflict in joint decision making, because so far in individual decision making we did not discuss this aspect of conflict, okay, because it was my decision I was taking. Now that it is they have to converge to a single decision, there would be numerous conflict, because each of them will have different motives, and that would be the source of conflicts. So, major issues according to Professor Shate is like this, that under different situation each of the family member assumes the role of head, particularly for cheaper or individualistic items. The decisions are likely to be autonomic and sometimes that may lead to some kind of conflict. Okay. If the item is expensive, it would be more joint decision making and therefore, the conflict would be much higher in that case, because since it is a one time purchase. So, everybody will try to influence the decision much more and nobody will try to negotiate. So, the conflict level of conflict in the decision making process would be much higher in that case. So, what are the mechanism by which the families converge to a decision? How do they resolve the conflict? They resolve the conflict by A is the problem solving mechanism. In the problem solving mechanism, the families collect more and more information. Each of these member, if they are rational enough, they will collect more information. So, in the tourism package case, they can ask the tourism service provider about much more details and the other features, like what could be the pricing, what is the infrastructure of different places, what are the other amusement I can get for an historical location, a place of scenic beauty or a foreign location. So, they can compare by collecting more or gathering more information from that service provider itself or from many other sources, like maybe from the internet or many other sources. So, that could be one way of, but by that they will start thinking in a very different way and their motives can differ, their evaluations of the places could differ and the conflict can be solved. The other one is the persuasion, that the father can persuade the mother that please whatever decision I am taking, please accept this decision. So, that persuasion. So, it depends on the emotional attachment, say how much you can persuade the other member about it. Last one, third one is the bargaining. Bargaining is like the father may say that okay, fine, in this vacation let us go to a historical location, in the next vacation we will go for a foreign trip. So, this is how this is a give and take kind of thing. So, this is how you can and the other one is actually not a very good mechanism, that is politicking. When a member of a family not only vary in terms of particular buying motives, but also essentially on maximum lifestyle components, the constant conflict is expected to be resolved either by the breakup of the family structure or by politics. Many of the Indian joint families are actually broken as a result of such family politics and disagreement in motives and varying lifestyles resulting from the generation gap. The latter generally results in the development of coalitions or subgroups within the family based on a commonality of the motives and they attempt to segregate the member who is identified as the key one behind the conflict. And so, therefore, even though this kind of conflict resolution technique like politicking is not a very good one, it is better that in the previous three situations, like by collecting more information or by persuasion or even by bargaining, you try to negotiate and converge to a decision making. So, this was in short the decision making. So, I will just go back to the model and once again shortly in a very nutshell brush up how the family took a decision. So, we start the model from here, that who is consuming, the any other member, the family, the household, and who is the decider, one single person, the father or the mother, or it is a joint decision. Okay. Now, that results in the family decision, but there is some other part, that is if it is a joint decision, then what happens, there are certain influencing things, like whether it would be a joint decision or not, that depends on all these things. As I told, life cycle, when you are single, you are taking more of autonomous decision. The more you become involved in the family, then it tend to be joint decision. Perceived risk is high, which is an expensive product you want to buy, more of joint decision. Importance of the purchase, like it is a child's education or something, then it is like joint decision more. Time pressure is high, then decision would be autonomous, because you do not have time to discuss. Now, in family decision, there is 3 members, as I in this case, like one is the father, mother and the kids in this case. So, they will have their own predisposition. How this predisposition is formed, we will see in the left hand side of the model. In left hand side is, see, they have their own buying motives and they have their own way of evaluating certain brands, certain services and all. So, and all these are influenced by their perceptual bias. Perceptual bias is found by the overt search of extent of search as much as they know about the product or service and how much they are sensitive to the information. I know mostly from the advertisement, but I am not sensitive to advertisement. So, that will not create my perceptual bias. If I am more inclined towards my peers opinion and I am sensitive to my peers opinion and I am collecting more information from my peers, then that might result in a strong perceptual bias, which will influence my buying motives, evaluative beliefs and in turn my predisposition. Now, overt search and sensitivity of information, here we also have to see what is the source of information, mass media, display, word of mouth, peer, from where am I collecting this information. So, all this together forms predisposition of all these members. Now, this also depends on certain interpersonal factors like say gender based, like some of the decisions are really female decisions, level of confidence of each of the family members. If I am not confident about buying a laptop, to evaluate a laptop, I will ask my father or I ask my brother about their expert opinion. So, then the decision becomes mode of choice. What is my personality, who are my reference group, my aspirational groups or my family members. Which social class I mean, if I am in the upper class, then decision making, mostly the male female demarcation or line becomes very thin. What is my lifestyle? Then we have this role orientation and then all this will have an implication on this, and then finally we come to a decision, but because of all these 3 conflicting predisposition, there will be conflict. And conflict resolution, there are 4 basic techniques I have discussed. One is collecting more information, that is problem solving. Then I have discussed about persuasion. Then I have discussed about bargaining by any of the family members, and finally is the politicking, by which the conflict would be resolved and finally the family would converge to a single decision. So, this is in short my discussion about family decision making.